This, folks, is not your average big brake kit for your 4x4 vehicle. And in this video, you will see why I believe this is one of the best big brake kits on the market, and one of the few that can say they are 100% designed, tested, and made in the USA. If you think 4-piston big brake calipers are awesome, wait until you see this 6-piston design by Wilwood.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Mike, also known as Flyfisher 530. We are currently lifting my Jeep as we speak. I am here at Sacramento Off-Road Solutions, Rafael Romero.
Welcome everyone.
And we are working today on my Jeep doing a couple things. The main thing is a big brake install, as well as an ARB differential breather tube extension. So those two things are getting done today, but Rafael and his group here have been the only place I trust with my Jeep the last few years. He's done my TerraFlex suspension upgrade to the 3.3 Falcon shocks. He did a differential upgrade from 410 to 488s. He also did the Steer Smarts steering system in the front, which included the tie rod, track bar, and drag link. As well as the rear track bar was also a Steer Smart system, as well as some electrical work helping getting my solar panel on my rooftop tent going. So Rafael, thanks for being with me today.
Yeah.
And why don't you just tell me a little bit about the business?
Well, we've been here since October of 2020. We kind of formed during COVID. We're trying to figure out a place where we can take our vehicles that we trust, and a lot of places are only limited to they'll take certain vehicles, but they won't take your rig if it's older than a certain year. And we wanted a place where everyone can bring their rigs to us. And so we wanted to help everyone.
Right.
And so, you know, all walks of colors, race, whatever, we want, everyone's welcome here.
Yeah, they don't just do Jeeps. You do every kind of off-road vehicle you can imagine. Trucks, Jeeps, whatever type of vehicle you have. Even we're working on an old, was it a Willys or
It
what?
was Ford Willys. It
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Yeah, very cool rig. So he's worked on some amazing rigs. I'll show you some of that in the video today, some of the things they've been working on. But so today we're going to get going on the install. Rafael, also you volunteer with Jeep Jamboree as well, correct?
I do.
Yeah.
We work, well, the shop works with Jeep Jamboree USA. We also work with Jeep Adventure Academy. So if you're a new Jeep owner, and if you're not sure what the buttons are for your rig, this is a perfect place. All our customers that are Jeep owners, I highly recommend that they attend it because I learned stuff. Technology with the Jeeps they keep changing so often.
Yeah.
And with these Jeep Academies, you know, the Jeep Academy staff work with Jeep engineers.
Right.
So I'm learning stuff from them that I can bring here to our facility and to our customers.
Yeah. And you also do expeditions down to Baja quite often, don't
We
you?
do that. We definitely do. We try to do one or two. We're going to be taking this customer for this rig. We're taking him in March, but this is like a really private one. It's a couple, like a romantic one. We're taking him to a hot springs for 2 nights, and we're taking him to a place that's a bubble house.
Oh, wow.
And that bubble house is amazing.
Wow.
It's
very
on
cool.
at the vineyards up in Valle de Guadalupe.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, so he does very cool trips down to Baja, and then as well as, you know, these Jeep Jamboree trips. He's been all over the place. We still haven't done a trip together. We've got to do that.
We do.
Yeah, we're due this year, so you'll be seeing us together on a trip for sure.
Definitely.
So, all right, so we're going to get going today on the work for the Jeep, and we'll bring you guys along. Okay, so right now, guys, I'm in the reception area for Sacramento Off-Road Solutions. Just want to show you real quickly this big brake set from Wilwood. This is the caliper that comes with the brake set. Most big brake sets you see out there are 4-piston designs with a larger brake pad, but this is actually a 6-piston caliper, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this performs on my Jeep. Wilwood, the story goes, Bill Wood started this company in 1977. It's now a 46-year-old company. Everything they do is designed, manufactured, and tested in the U.S. When he was in Southern California, his third prototype brake set, the story goes that he took it down to a NASCAR track in Southern California, was trying to show him what he was making. They directed him to some guy named Richard who knew something about brakes, and that turned out to be Richard Petty, and the company grew from there. So They were, and probably still are, mainly known for racing brakes, but they also make brakes for the military, for the Humvee. They make brakes for Jeeps. They make brakes for all sorts of vehicles these days. So they're not just a racing brake company. So I'm excited to get these on. My Jeep really could use some extra stopping power. So that's what we'll be doing today, is installing these brakes and bringing you along for the ride.
Our automotive mechanic Tim begins the day by removing my 35-inch tires along with the old rotors and calipers. Note that I had installed on my front wheels an existing power stop rotors and brake pads, but the brake calipers were original to the Jeep. Tim takes a rotary brush to clean off some rust from the wheel hub and then begins the process of working on the new brake kit. The first step is to assemble the rotor hat to the rotor disc. This is accomplished by inserting 12 stainless steel bolts and washers coated with red Loctite and then torquing to 155 inch-pounds. Although noted to be considered an optional item in the instructions, we also inserted stainless steel safety wire between 6 pairs of bolts per the instructions provided by Wilwood. This took a considerable amount of time using a special wire twisting tool I had never seen before, but was pretty cool to see in action. The final product looked great and gave me added confidence these bolts will never come off the rotor assembly. The next step was to install a caliper bracket on the axle hub. Before we place the rotor on the axle hub the first time, a small axle adapter ring is placed onto the wheel hub with the smaller outside adapter ring facing forward. After this is done, the new wheel rotor is initially placed on the axle hub with several lug nuts only finger tight. At this point, we are going to do some test fitting, and the dust shield will need to be bent back some and trimmed slightly to allow for the thicker rotor disc. After cutting off a small portion of the dust shield that was interfering with the rotor, we ground off any rough edges. Once this is completed, we mount the caliper onto the wheel hub for the first time, and we make sure the caliper is oriented so that the largest piston is at the top of the caliper, or what is considered the rotor exit end. We added some lightweight oil to the bracket studs first and then placed 2 shim washers on the caliper bracket studs and then temporarily tightened the caliper down with locking nuts. Once this is done, we verified the rotor was correctly centered within the caliper housing, and it is at this time we could adjust with more or less shims between the bracket and the axle hub, but it was not necessary for this assembly. After we verify the rotor is correctly centered within the caliper housing, the caliper bracket mounting bolts are removed, then applied with red Loctite and torqued down to 75 foot-pounds. How many foot-pounds? We then added the brake pads into the caliper housing and noted that they were slightly low, as they should be at the same height as the outer edge of the rotor. So we added a 3rd shim washer to each bracket stud to confirm the brake pads were at the correct height. Once this is done, the caliper locking nuts are torqued to 30 foot-pounds. Once the caliper and rotors are installed, we installed new steel-braided brake lines that are a recommended part of the new brake kit, as the Wilwood caliper has a different MPT fitting that does not match with OEM brake lines. The brake line was routed to the original connection on the frame of the Jeep and was matched with the wheel sensor wire and zip-tied together for a clean finish. All that was left to do at this point was to bleed the brake lines, and Tim and Raphael took the time to make sure this was done right, including bleeding the rear brake lines just to make sure there was no air anywhere within the brake line system, after removing the original front axle brake lines at the start of the project. I had never seen a brake line vacuum pump in action before, so it was cool to see how useful this could be to make the job a lot easier for one person to do versus having someone in the vehicle pumping the brake lines to get air out of the system. Once the brake lines were bled, Tim put the wheels back on and torqued down the lug nuts, and we proceeded to do a road test to seat the brakes before I headed back home. There are several good YouTube videos on how to seat your new brakes, and I will leave a link down below if you are interested.
Okay, well, I am heading down into the American River Canyon. This is Highway 49 between Auburn and Cool, California. It is just an
beautiful river canyon. I'm about to cross the river right now on the bridge leading to my hometown of Cool, California. This is a nice windy steep grade I'm coming down, and boy, what a difference the brakes have made. I have to say there's a big difference, I think, between 6-piston design calipers and 4, and I am just very impressed with these Wilwood brake sets. So just to wrap up, I want to give a special thanks to Tim and Raphael at Sacramento Off-Road Solutions. They are just awesome guys. I trust them like no other shop I've ever been with. They've done an amazing amount of work on my Jeep the last few years and getting it prepared for some serious overlanding trips, and can't recommend them enough. They, if you're local to Sacramento area at all, highly recommend Sacramento Off-Road Solutions. Totally non-sponsored video. I've paid for everything myself, just so you guys know. But I'm super glad I put on those Wilwood brakes. They so far so good, and I'll give you an update down the road. But again, thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and hope to see you all on the trail someday. Thanks again.